Hey, happy Labor Day evening to you, folks. How's it going tonight? Texas Redleg here. Wanted to do a little different spin on tonight's video, something I don't typically do in my videos, which is talk about hauls or weekend hauls or, different store type hauls. It's not something I go on and on about. A lot of people are into that. It's something I kind of do every once in a while. If I find something that I think is maybe worthwhile, that's not all watered down, that everybody else is doing. I think I might have one of those for you tonight. I've sort of been considering, what if you do have to bug in, and if you're in a rural setting or versus a urban setting, so to speak. In other words, maybe you live in a neighborhood in the burbs or whatever, or maybe you live out in the country, either way. It poses two different, issues when it comes to capture of wild game for protein. And so with regard to this video, I just want to discuss a few things that I was able to get my hands on this weekend. And one of them I typically do a lot of it, which is these emergency food bars that you can just get from the big box store. I'm sure a lot of you have seen them, and they're, I want to say they're around $4 a piece, but it's 2,400 calories, and you basically can break a chunk off these little, you can see these little squares, and you could break a chunk off, each meal or whatever. Now, it's not real tasty. This one is, apple cinnamon. But it's got a 5-year shelf life. It's lightweight. Throw it in a backpack. And it's got high calories. So, long shelf life. It's lightweight. It doesn't take up much room. And it's got a lot of calories in it. So, those are things that I would definitely try to consider if I were you. If you were in the position where you may have to bug out on foot, especially. If you have a vehicle that you're planning on getting out of town with, if it comes to that, maybe you throw a few of these in the trunk or in the glove box, and you don't have to worry about it. They're always there. I mean, they're cheap enough, and they have a long shelf life where you can just basically throw them in and forget about them. And I think that's a real no-brainer when it comes to survival and having protein / calorie intake on the road or at home, quite frankly. But again, they're cheap, they're available. Every time I go to the store, I typically buy one or two of them, and I just kind of keep them in the inventory. And I've got a place out in the country, sort of like a little compound, and we keep some out there as well, just in case. Anyway, emergency food ration bars, and there's other brands too. There's SOS, and there's other types of different types of rations that have the same thing. But this is just one that you can grab off the shelf at Wally World, if you are so inclined, and has some on hand. Another item that I picked up this weekend, which I thought was pretty cool, I believe this was at Dollar General, but these little microgreens, these little packages of microgreens. And you basically scatter them about, tend to them, and they sort of just grow according to the directions. I'm not a person that has a really good green thumb. I've had gardens before and, grown tomatoes and peppers and such. But I thought this for $1 was a pretty simple, cheap thing to go for. And, just keep them on hand, and if you had the opportunity to plant them, and it comes to that, you got them to plant. I know a lot of people go way deeper than me on that type of stuff, but again, it's just one little thing that can add some fiber to your diet, or maybe give you something to do during hard times. And again, I'm just showing you the things that I do. I'm not saying it's the best. I'm just giving you my opinion, and that's about it. So and of course, the big one that I wanted to discuss with you guys tonight is this little cage trap here that is for small game like rabbits, squirrels, what have you. It's a little live cage trap, pressure plate activated, that you can, use for rabbits or squirrels. And it's quiet. It doesn't make a lot of noise. It's light. It doesn't, take a lot of muscle to maneuver it. You basically just bait it and wait. And whether you're in an urban setting or a rural setting, something like that could be very valuable to you being able to, acquire wild game / protein without having to fire a shot and draw attention to yourself. So I think these little cage traps are really good. I did a little bit of it when I was younger in high school and such. Friends and I would go out, trapping and things like that, just doing stuff to, be kids. But don't know a whole lot about trapping, but I've done a little bit of it, as I said, as a younger person. And it does work if you know what you're doing, or you do a little bit of research and train a little bit and, know what kind of trails to put them on or around and how to bait them, etc. But anyway, those are 3 little things that I thought were worthy of a little video tonight. I know there's other opinions when it comes to these survival bars and growing little micro gardens and stuff like that. But again, if it's an SHTF situation, especially with this cage trap, you want something that's going to be quiet and effective and not draw attention, right? And, and where I live, there's tons of cottontail rabbits. I mean, they're all over the place, and yeah, they eat the grass and they're sort of a nuisance, to be quite honest. But at the same time, if things really got tough, I know even in an urban setting, I've got the potential for a pretty good protein source. And they just had litters of baby rabbits all over the neighborhood. So, and I know you can't just eat rabbit all the time, but again, this is just an example of what you can do with a small little cage trap like this to get you through a hard time. And they're really inexpensive. I think it was $25 on Amazon, and something to think about, going forward. Again, it's not having to shoot a rifle or a shotgun to kill something. It's about being quiet and, stealthy and able to feed yourself and others, should it come to that. So hopefully everybody's having a great weekend and had a safe, get together and resting weekend. Hopefully everybody is still prepping and accomplishing things. So with that, keep prepping, stack it deep, long live the Republic.